Okay, today we are drafting a basic straight skirt. This is beginners friendly. So this is the measurement we'll be using for this skirt. The hip line, the waist, the skirt length, the nipple to nipple. We are not using this round underbust because we're not drafting a pencil skirt but a straight skirt. So let's begin. Here I've already marked out the line, the hip line, and my hip line here is 10. So the hip line is 10. The nipple to nipple is 8. 8 divided by 2 give me 4. So I input the nipple to nipple here down and mark a straight line. That's how I got this place. Then this is my skirt length. My skirt length is 19. Then 1.5 for my hemming allowance. Okay, so after getting this now, this is the dart line. You have to come here, input your dart intake. So I'll be using half inches on both sides for my dart intake. Half inches. On this place, I'll go up by 2 inches so I can connect my darts. Then use your French curve to connect. Then after that, you have to input your waist. Your waist divided by 2. My waist is 32. Divided by 4. Divided by 4 will give me 8. Input your waist measurement, which is 32 divided by 4 will give me 8. Then 1 inches for my allowance. You can add 1.5 inches for your sewing allowance. That's 1 point. Then you here on your hip line, you input your hip. Your hip 40 divided by 4 will give me 10. You input it here, 10. Then 1 inches for my sewing allowance. On this waist, please don't forget to input your dart intake, because you removed 1 inch here. The half inches that we took out here, we are going to replace it. So when we sew in this one, it won't shorten your measurements. So you input your hip and 1 inch sewing allowance. Let me straighten up this line. Okay, 1 inch sewing allowance. Then because it's a straight skirt, what you got here is what you will input here. So my hip line, hip 10. This line is kind of short. Okay, hip 10. 1 inch sewing allowance. Get down to your hemming allowance, 10. Then 1 inch for sewing allowance. Let me run through this again. You take your hip line, your skirt length, and your hem. My hem is 1.5 inches. Then you input your dart intake, which I used half inches for both sides. Then on the hip line, I went up by 2 inches. Then connect the darts. After doing that, then you input your measurements. Your waist plus your dart intake plus sewing allowance. Your hip plus your sewing allowance. Then on this skirt length, you input your hip. What you have here, bring it down to this place, because it's a straight skirt, not a pencil skirt. What you have here, bring it down to this place, and you hem. Then now you connect. You connect. Going to cut out our skirt. Okay, this is our front pattern. This is the back of the skirt. Here is my zipper allowance. 1 inch is for my zipper allowance. Then I have already done my nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches. Then went up by 2 inches. Then I did 0.5 inches here. Then connected it to these 2 inches I went up with. So after that, already I've gotten my hip line, my skirt length, and the hemming allowance. So what I'm going to do now is to impute my waist, which is 8, plus my zipper allowance, plus my dart intake, which is 1 inches. Then here my hip 10 plus sewing allowance. Here, please add your sewing allowance, don't forget sewing allowance. Then on whatever you have here, bring it down to this place. You have to connect this thing to the end. Connect it to the end. Okay, so whatever you have here, bring it down here, which is 10, which is my hip, because it's a straight skirt and not a pencil skirt. I don't want the skirt to be penciled but straight. Then your sewing allowance, then you connect. You connect. This is the actual line, the sewing allowance. You connect it. This is the back of my straight skirt. Then now you have to cut it out. Cut it all out. So now this is the back skirt, and this is the front skirt. On this front side, there is something I forgot to do. Sorry. You have to come down here. For the front, come down by 1 inches. Come down by 1 inches. Then connect it to your dart. This helps the skirt to lap well at the front. You connect it to the dart, just the way I did it. Then trim it out. Please don't forget this when you are drafting your skirt. Okay, so this is how to draft your basic straight skirt. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so, and thanks to my subscribers. I love you guys. So the next video will be on how to sew a straight skirt. So stay tuned for that video. Thank you. I love you guys. Bye.